So what's happened during July? I think the big news item for July was that we kicked off the first of the Grafter breakfasts. And this was an opportunity to bring together existing clients and prospects to understand a bit more about the services that we are building and delivering, but also to introduce the concept of the Grafter community. And I'm super excited about that. So I think what's coming down the road in August, well, I guess the other big reflection for me in July is that, I'd liken running this company like preparing for an ultra marathon rather than, the previous company Different was all about pace and speed constantly. And that is my default. There's no denying that. But I've given myself a good talking to in the last week, which is, this doesn't need to be about speed and about pace. This needs to be about having fun, working with the right clients, delivering, really incredible outcomes, and focusing deeply on the work that we're doing for organizations rather than trying to grow super quick. And that's echoed really by deciding to slow down the launch of the growth and scale services. So they were due to come out on the 1st of August. I mean, the reality is it's a shite time to be landing new services because half the population are on holiday, and it just makes sense to delay it for a bit, but also we're going to use that time to really build out the playbooks that sit behind some of those services. So the 8-figure exit program, a number of organizations have gone through that now, but actually going to flip that program into a playbook, which will allow us to condense that period of time. So if a company rocks up and they say, I've got someone that wants to buy my business faster, we can move them through that process a lot quicker with a playbook. And then for growth and for scale services, again, these services are going to be delivered from a consultancy perspective, and we'll launch those on the 1st of September. I'm super excited to launch the growth and scale services. So the reality is, we did this slightly arse about face for varying reasons. 8-figure exit was the first service launched, but the demand for growth and scale has far outstripped the demand for 8-figure exit, and that's an obvious realization. There's a lot more businesses that want to double down on growing and scaling, especially as we head into a tricky market, than those that are debating selling. I can certainly talk about supporting some of the client activities. So E18 are an intelligent automation consultancy who I've been working with for the last couple of months. And I joined their webinar around cancer and the cancer pathway earlier this month, and it was absolutely mint. So we had in excess of 70 different organizations join. There's a load of interest in the work that they've been doing, but also it was a great opportunity to really share across NHS organizations some of the tried, tested and proven lessons that the E18 have learned in that space. So yeah, super excited to join them for that. And I guess the other highlight for me this month, not from a client perspective, but was getting along to Silverstone. So I went along, I have to say, probably the most opulent event I've been at in the last decade. It's like Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous, that thing. Now, I like a good motor, and I was there with the Aston Martin Juniper team, courtesy of Alan Lowe from Visionable. And we were very lucky. We had paddock passes. So you get to go behind the scenes and actually see the cars, and meet some of the team. I mean, it was unbelievable. My funniest sort of reflection on that day was that it was heavy party. Everyone's on the champers, and Alan and I were standing at the champagne bar for probably an hour while I was ordering a Diet Coke and he was ordering a cup of tea. And I just had to laugh because we were the only two people there who were not partaking in the heavily boozy setup. But it was an incredible event, a real privilege being invited, and absolutely loved it. There are a number of events on the horizon, but they are more Grafter focused. So I'm doing a favour for Richard Corbridge in his new role over at DWP. Richard's asked me to do a speaking gig in September, talking about entrepreneurs and how startups deliver work in a different way. So I'll do that as a favour to Rich. That's coming down the pipe in September. But my plans are to move away from the public speaking for other organisations until I'm ready to take to the stage for the Grafter. So that's my plan of action. We are definitely getting bigger. I mean, I sincerely hope I'm not getting bigger because I'm less than 2 months from getting married. So that would be devastating after all this hard work. But in way of the organisation, I've got at the minute 2 or 3 people who are doing a cheeky side hustle and are helping me out in various different areas. I talked about Stacey, who is a mate over in Barbados, who is helping on the social side. What's become apparent over the last couple of months is that, if I'm going to scale this to where I want it to get to, I'm going to need some additional help in. So in the last 4 weeks, Guy, who is a doctor, has been helping out with some of the thinking around the different tools that we build within the Grafter to help us deliver the services. And he's a serious brain. He's also a clinical doctor and boatloads of experience raising money for other organisations. He's been in the mix. And then I've got another mate who I've worked with before who'll be coming in a day or 2 a month from August. So starting to get the old band back together slowly but surely. I think the reality is likely to have permanent people or full-time people in the mix from the back end of the year. So shit will be getting serious at that point. This month, I think I've probably found a better balance, actually. So if I look at, things that I do to keep me middle of the road, I'm a consistent kind of meditator these days. But, things like reflexology, massage, I've been much better at making sure that they are prioritized. So I think there's been better balance in me. There was a slight accident with a shed load of pick and mix last night, but hey, can't be a saint the whole time.